Good morning, everyone. Happy Website Wednesday. You know what? I bet you in description I didn't do that right. So sorry we're late today. It was all my fault as usual. My team is always on time and I'm always running late. I'm the cog in the system sometimes, don't you think?
It happens.
It happens. Okay, so today we are talking about the 5 simple tips for using your website to get ahead of your competition. And I loved your first one, which kind of was a new one based on what happened.
You're right. I added it this morning because of all of the fun and games that happened on it was Monday, right? When Facebook went down.
Was it Monday or
You
Tuesday?
and Kim were doing your marketing Monday.
Oh, that's right. We were doing Marketing Monday and we thought we were live and we were still talking.
Yeah, and so many businesses felt crippled completely, brought to ashes because Facebook, Instagram, WhatsApp, all of those things went down. And the thing of it is you should never ever put your business in the hands of someone else that owns the platform. You've got to have a website. So that is our bonus number 1 tip that we're tossing in today is you've got to have a website. Having a website, even if it's not perfect, even if it's not amazing, even if it was built by you, and you don't know exactly what you're doing, it's still going to put you ahead of the competition that hasn't bothered to get a website out there yet.
Yeah, when you told me the other day, and I know I've heard it myself too, probably not as often as you. Well, I have a Facebook business page, so why do I need a website? It's like, whoop, let me tell you why, because of the other day and Instagram, right?
Yeah, everything came crashing down, but still, they could disappear. They could put you in Facebook jail. How many people have got you heard say I'm in Facebook jail, and they have no business representation until Facebook deems them worthy to come out. I mean, you're putting everything in the hands of somebody else who doesn't care because they don't know you. I mean, I'm not saying Facebook's evil. I absolutely adore Facebook, and I think they've done a lot of great stuff, and I use them. And so I wasn't mad. I was just like, oh, well, I'll just do other things today instead of what I was going to do there. So
I was relieved that I had 5 hours off of social media. But then I started adding up like, okay, good thing I call it my storefront, my website. I still have my website, still have LinkedIn, still have Pinterest, still have YouTube, right? I have all these other assets that I've built over the years. So I thought, okay, if Facebook and Instagram goes away tomorrow, my poor groups are going to be gone, which I would be so upset about. But at least I have an email list also that I was having a way to communicate with my following. So if you don't have that, make sure you at least have a website and get started with these other assets
and
too.
start building those other ones one at a time and mastering them one at a time. So that's the key here is just to have a website. But back to the original blog post before our fun.
Right.
The first tip that I wanted to share was think about the user experience. So many people think about what they want in a website, but the website really isn't about you. It's about your clients and what you can do for them. So you want to make it super simple and easy for them. So I've said this a million times. Go out there, get on your iPhone, an iPad, a laptop, whatever, go to a coffee shop and use your website just like a client would. If it annoys you, who knows the ins and outs better, it's going to really annoy your clients. And so you've got to do some tweaking and changing when it comes to that.
It really is amazing when you change the glasses you're looking at your website through, right? Through whose eyes?
Yeah.
Because we think we build some fabulous things sometimes. And then I go and look and I put myself in the shoes of a client and I'm like, and this happened just the other day. I'm like, oh, nowhere did I give the price.
Yeah.
Nowhere did I give the details of what you actually get. I'm just like, hey, come buy this because it's great. Because I know it's great, right? But I never looked at it through the eyes of my client.
And that's just it. So, and that's why a lot of times as a web designer, like I haven't done this yet on the sales page, but I take my laptop to a different room and I sit down and peruse things from a different perspective. Because when I'm at my desk, I'm in my office, I have this hat on, this design.
Yeah, that's what I was doing. You're changing hats, you're going in the other room. I
Go
love
to another room and grab a cup of coffee and do it from there because I catch things that much more. So that's why I say take yourself out of your normal equation and use your website like a client. And you're going to be able to do it much more easily when you move to a new place.
Love it. Love that tip.
So number 2, and this is going to scare some people, but trust me, I have a resource.
Actually, it's number 3 now because we
number 3. Oh, that's right. Yes, number 3. But it's going to scare some people, but it shouldn't, because it really isn't complicated. And that is focus on your SEO. I'm not talking about getting all into the Google Analytics and AdWords and all of this stuff. I'm talking about just plug the holes on your website. And it's so simple. The first year that I was in business, I had maybe 5 clients and I had more than 1 million hits on my websites from the tips that I teach you in my free SEO course. So there's no excuse not to go out and do those tips, not to take care of your SEO.
You know, one of the simplest, I was watching a training yesterday and I thought, how do I forget the fact that if you just put in Google the words, and I'll just use this because we're streaming into 2 groups, right? I coach interior designers and coaches and consultants. But if you put in interior designer into Google, it's going to give you all the things that people are Googling. It's going to feed you, right? How do I hire? What does an interior designer cost? It feeds you these sentences that people are Googling, and like, make sure they're in your website copy somewhere.
Exactly. Make sure you're putting
Right.
Right. Another one, and I have the link to this in my blog post, is WordStream. And it's a free, easy to use resource to help you identify some good keywords and phrases for your industry. No matter if you're coaching, consulting, interior design, popping in because they love you, there's great resources available. So you've got to focus on your SEO. It takes time, but if you do it every time you add to your website, it's easy peasy. I mean, like, I don't have to do a big SEO thing other than reviewing my main pages because I'm always building it into my blog posts.
What's the name of that website? I know it's in your WordScript.
Stream.
WordStream. Okay, another very juicy nugget you're dropping here today. Okay, hopefully everybody's
totally free resource. So again, no excuse.
Yep.
All right, so the number 4, our new number 4, is create some clear and compelling content. And so again, back to what I said earlier, the website really isn't about you, not entirely. It's what you're going to be able to do to help your customers. And so you've got to create that content that draws them in. When we get caught up on building a resume type about me page, that doesn't work with people. But when you say, I am the best eclectic interior designer out there, somebody looking for eclectic design is going to be like, oh, I want to know what they see. Let me see their stuff. So you've got to build in some compelling content that gets people's attention. And that goes back to the SEO. And like you said, typing words into Google. What are people searching for? What is my niche? You know, type that in. Start typing in eclectic interior design, or typing in, you know, public speaking coaching. If you're a public speaking coach or something, see what people are searching for and start building those words into your content.
Yes. And it could be overwhelming if you let it be, but if you just do it slow and steady, right? We went back at one point and modified a couple of my blogs to plug in more SEO words, because before we really focused on SEO, we just wrote blogs like everybody else who's probably listening. I just write blogs, but then we started realizing there's power in putting some of the things people are searching for within already existing blogs. And we went back and did a little modification here and there. Slow, one redo a month or one redo every other month. Like, again, just don't overwhelm yourself, but just little baby steps equal big progress over a year's time.
Absolutely. And even so, once you get really good, once you're comfortable with SEO, and it's just practice, you could even do one blog post a day. It'll take you about 5 to 10 minutes. Blog post a day. Think of the progress you could make in that amount of time.
Yeah, that gives me anxiety.
Okay, so 5 to 10 minutes a day. We'll put it that, maybe a little bit less, but still, little pieces. And those little steps, like you said, those baby steps, they're putting you ahead of your competition, because I guarantee there are plenty of people out there that are not looking at their SEO and not plugging it in.
And I will tell you, there are times that I have a client that says, I just put up my website. Some of them, you have built their website, and 2 months later, they're already getting business. And there are other people in my groups that are like, how are they already getting business when they just put up a website? And it was because when they built it, they considered the SEO in the background, the meta tags and this, and the blog posts were already ready to go up from the beginning, like 3 to 5, right? Just to give that content, and Google recognizing that I'm here, right? Because you have a decent amount of content.
Yeah, and that goes into step number 5, which is updating that website frequently. Now, the obvious one is anytime you shift your services, anytime you shift your business model, you need to go and review and make sure that that's out there, that you've made those changes, because you're going to lose trust with somebody if you have old pricing, old service models, old stuff out there that you no longer serve. But the other thing too is adding content on a regular basis. So it could be blogs, but it doesn't have to be a blog. It could be a case study. You could you could create mood boards and say, hey, here's this month's mood board. This is
Yeah.
why I put these pieces together. Or, for coaching, like there's so much out there to support coaching. I mean, there's tons of white paper articles and things like that to create blogs. Like there's just so many opportunities to put things out there. You also could do case studies. This client, you don't have to give their name, but this client, let me tell you about the progress they made. Here's what we implemented. Here's where they are now. Here's where the
Right. And that works with any service-based entrepreneur. It's before and afters for possibly for interior designers with why you made the decisions you made. For coaching, it's the same thing, right? It's before when they came to me, this was their existence. This is how much they made. This is how many clients they were getting. And now look at them now, right? So you can always do a case study pretty quickly, honestly.
Really? just just be honest and sit down like you're having a cup of coffee with Nancy and say, here's what I did. I have client X that this is their challenge. Here's what we implemented. Here's where they are. It will flow so easily and it will give you that new content that again shows Google that you're relevant, that you are actively working your website, that you're still in business, and it helps your visibility.
Right. And let me just throw in here, this is why you need to charge your worth to run a profitable business, because I want you to think of your website. If you don't have a storefront, or even if you do, your website's a second storefront, people. If you're not making enough money to do the steady updates and revisions and keep up with your new branding or your new niche or new blogs, you're making a big mistake. You are not just you. You run a business. You are a CEO, even though people don't like to think of themselves as that. They're business owners, right? So keep your storefront up to date. All right. And then we had a bonus one, correct?
Yes. So the last thing too, and actually there's a one last piece I'll toss in here, but it's just create a little bit of breathing room with white space. So many times people squish everything together. We talk about this, and I'm going to talk about it a lot because I run into it all the time, especially like the Wix templates that are out there. They're so squished together, and it's like almost having somebody yelling at you from the screen when there's that much information. So create some breathing room. Let people absorb what it is you have to share with them. You don't need to tell them everything. They're going to learn that. They're going to learn some in the discovery call or in the consultation, and they're going to learn everything as they start working from you. That's what those processes are about. Your onboarding, your welcome packets, those things are going to give that huge amount of detail. The website is to get them in, get them interested, and get them contacting you.
Yes. And I agree. And I definitely suffer from this over the years. It's like, I just want to put everything out there, everything. Right. So no one, and I hear this too, like, well, shouldn't I put every single detail on my website so I pre-screen everybody? I'm like, no, because you could be bouncing people who, once they talk to you, really are into what you're saying, and you've gotten them excited, and it's a perfect personality match. Yet from your website, they may have bounced because it's just like you said, too much information being thrown at them. You're not keeping them in the moment of all you want them to do is click the contact me button.
And make that simple. When they have to fill out this long
Yeah.
Or a contact form or whatever, with all these questions, what's your budget? And nope, they're not going to get there.
That peeve of mine, I hate that.
That's a follow-up. When they schedule that paid consultation with you or that paid session with you, then you send them that intake form that gives them where you get more detail. But in that initial contact, make it super simple. Here, schedule with me, request to schedule with me, whatever. Make it super quick and simple so that they can get in contact with you. So that's a little added bonus.
Love it. Love it. And it's so true. Keep it simple. It's all
Simple.
that
Yeah.
kiss. Keep it super simple is the way I've revised that. So it's not obnoxious. But yeah, there are people who are asking, I think, way too many questions up front. There's a lot of coaches teaching that. And I get it. Once your pipeline is full, you can add extra couple of questions if
Absolutely.
you like. But before your pipeline is full, make it easy for people to open the front door of your website by clicking one button and getting on your calendar.
Right. And yeah, absolutely. Like you said, I mean, if you're having to turn away business because you have so much, that's when you can start adding in some pre-screening. But right
Right.
now, just like you said, you never know who until you know. So that brings me to the last thing. If somebody is looking for that second set of eyes to look at their website, if these tips feel overwhelming, I do offer a free video or a free website audit. It's a huge detailed report, about 5 or 6 pages. Plus, it's done personally by me. I go in, I create a video, and I look at your website to give you some tips on how to make it better. And again, it's 100% free. You just have to go to my website to get it.
Invaluable, invaluable. Everyone should go and get their website analyzed by Teresa until her calendar gets blown out, and then she'll be charging for that. So do it now, even though I know you're really busy, but it's one of those things that right now you can offer for free. It's like I used to offer a free phone call, and now I can't anymore. I just physically can't, right? So take advantage, people, while you can.
I can, because I don't know how long it'll be out there. I know we talked about this, hesitating to put it out there, but
yes, no, I think it's a great idea and it's extremely valuable. You do it for my clients, and I think that they always get something out of it, always. And even if they can't take action right when they get it from you, it's that guide for when they're ready.
they're ready.
To start taking action on their website. So love it. So there's a link above our heads to the blog post about 5 simple tips for using your website to get ahead of your competition by Web Designs by Teresa. That's my web designer. She's fabulous. If you need your website done, please reach out to Teresa. It's a no-brainer. It really is. So everyone go have a great Wednesday, and you know where to find me if you need me, and I'll talk to you tomorrow.
All right.
Thanks,
Bye,
Teresa.
everyone.
Bye, everyone.